Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on using LinkedIn to grow your business. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'm going to be your host, and our presenter is Lorraine Duncan, and more on Lorraine in just a minute. But first, some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA with over 10,000 volunteers nationally and locally here at SCORE Fairfield County. We have over 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry process and subject matter expertise. And we offer three primary value-added services that you can see there on the screen. First of all, we offer one-on-one business mentoring, and you can access that in person, via Zoom, phone, email, whatever works best for you. And you can use the yellow bit.ly link on the screen, or you can go to our website and just click on the Request a Mentor button. Secondly, we offer a wide range of business education programs and webinars, both in person and online, and roughly about 100 of those throughout the year. And lastly, we offer extensive resources, including tools and information on our website. Our next live webinar is tomorrow, June 21st at noon, and the topic is Planning and Managing Business Growth, Your Financial Plan, with Fred Welk presenting. And again, you can find more specifics on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. And if you're on our website, we also have a large number of recorded webinars that cover a wide range of business topics. And you can view those at any time by clicking on demand webinars. Just some logistics about today's webinar. We will, to respect your time, we will end sharply at 1, and we will also have a Q&A session that we will leave the last 10 minutes or so for, and Lorraine will address as many questions as she can up until about the top of the hour. The session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website within the next day or so. And so it's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Lorraine Duncan. Lorraine has over 30 years of experience in business marketing and consulting. She runs her own digital marketing agency, BizGone Social, where she advises small businesses how to utilize social media in their marketing and guides them to online marketing solutions. She also does social media management for her clients and is the author of the book Shout It Out, a social media guide for business owners. She currently teaches courses on social media and also speaks to group. Lorraine is known as the LinkedIn Super Ninja, and she knows full well how to win on LinkedIn. Lorraine, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob, for having me. And I am going to just start, a little bit about me more. I launched BizGone Social in 2013. I'm author of a book called Shout It Out. This is my family when I'm not doing BizGone Social, so I always have to give them a little credit. I love just spending time with them when I'm not doing my business. It's my book, Shout It Out. And so what we're going to learn, we're going to get right into it. We're going to learn. I have to, because this isn't really an advanced class, I still have to touch a little bit on the LinkedIn profiles. But by now, everybody who is on LinkedIn should know that your profile should be definitely completely full. The other thing is we're going to learn about making some time on LinkedIn. We're going to learn how to reach out to your target market, and we're going to apply some growth hack strategies. So here we go. I'm just going to give you quick statistics here. And this is just, think about it. Every 90 minutes, this is what's going on. So think about it. Just think about what happens in an hour and a half. So a little bit more stats, a couple interesting things. 93% of B2B marketers consider LinkedIn to be their most effective site for LinkedIn generation. So if you are a B2B, you need to be on LinkedIn. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on stats, but you can Google them and learn so much about who really is on LinkedIn. I want to start with there are three kinds of LinkedIn users. There's the ghost. They actually filled out a profile. They actually, they don't engage, they don't post, they don't connect. They just are a blank. And then there's those recruiters or job hunters that are looking for jobs or we're trying to recruit you for a job. And then, of course, there's me, the superstar. No, seriously, we all want to be superstars on LinkedIn. So this is what, if you are a B2B and you want to use LinkedIn for lead generation, this is what you want to be. You want to be the superstar. So let's just really briefly talk about the profile. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go off my screen and show you LinkedIn. You should be pretty familiar, but why should we complete a LinkedIn profile? The reason is You want to complete a LinkedIn profile because people are looking at your profile. Not only are they just staring at your picture or looking at the top banner, but they're actually reading it. So what you write below in your summary, in your recommendations, everything, it matters. So the other thing, there's some important elements of the profile. And as you know, the first thing they see is your profile picture and your banner. So you want to make sure that you have a nice client attractive profile with a business picture on, no selfies, because remember, if you can, I don't know if you can see me, but if you take a selfie and elongate your arm, literally it's going to look like a selfie. Take the time to get a professional photographer. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. If you're on this webinar, you probably already signed up to LinkedIn and you probably have realized that you need to actually complete this profile. And actually, when you complete the profile, it will tell you you are at an all-star level. So that's where you want to get. You want to get to the all-star level. You want to complete every little thing. All right, just some things. I'm just, you take a screenshot of this. You want to be 100% with your profile. And you want to start connecting. You want to make sure you have 50 contacts or more. Very important. You also want to make sure that your headline is different and it attracts a client. Remember, you're not writing the headline or a summary for yourself. It's wonderful that you did all these amazing things, but really, actually, nobody cares. And that's the truth. The truth is they want to know what you can do for them and how you can help them. So you want to take the time to fill this out. Every single LinkedIn thing. I mean, this isn't my first SCORE webinar here. Every LinkedIn SCORE webinar I've done, I've told you to complete this profile. So it's the most important thing before you start doing anything else, because if somebody sees that you haven't completed your profile, then they're going to think that's what you are in business. So you want to make sure you complete it. Just some quick tips, of course, 100%. I'm not going to go through all this, but make sure that you're also, you're feeding your network. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more because when you have a complete profile, this is what all the things that you want to do. You want to make sure you have strategies. You want to make sure that, your contacts are great. You want to integrate LinkedIn everywhere. So you want to these are just branding. Everybody has to think about branding when it comes to LinkedIn. So if you notice, I don't know if you can see my picture at all on the top there, but I have my logo there. So you want to make sure when you're thinking about this brand stuff, when it comes to LinkedIn, remember your profile is your brand. Okay. So you are your brand. So these are just some things. Take a screenshot if you'd like. I'm not going to get into this. I'm just going to go right on to the next thing. But I do want you to take a minute here, and it's going to be a quick 60 seconds. I want you to think about one thing that you're going to improve on your profile. Maybe you don't have a great headshot. Maybe you never taken time to write your headline so that it's attracting other people, so that it's saying what you do in a unique way. Because what's going to happen is that, like, if I say I'm a real estate agent, well, guess what? There's 350,000 million real estate agents on LinkedIn. There's tons of LinkedIn. In fact, if you went to the search bar on LinkedIn and typed in real estate agent, you would see how many there are. There's tons of them. So take a minute real quick. I'm going to end this very quickly, but write down one thing you're going to improve in your profile. Maybe you need to get some recommendations. Maybe you need to put a nice banner. Maybe you need to rewrite your summary. Okay, so those are some things, ideas, but make sure one of my rules in life is he or she who implements first wins. So don't just come to this webinar today, but make sure you're going to implement something that I've taught today. We're going to go on making the time to be and be consistent. Many times I literally will hear somebody say, well, I opened up a profile and no, I'm not getting any clients. LinkedIn doesn't work, and then I ask them, well, how often are you on LinkedIn? Well, I filled out a profile probably about 6 months ago. Folks, if you're going to do LinkedIn right, You have to be on there daily. Now you could take the weekends off. I'm not saying to work on the weekends, but you need to carve out some time to make the time and also to be consistent. So you want to show up daily. Okay. What does that look like? It could be a number of things. Maybe you're going to connect with a few people. Maybe you're going to do a post. Maybe you're going to update your profile. All these things are important. Maybe you're going to connect with you have a plan of who you're going to connect with, but we'll get into more of that lately of who we're going to connect with. But you just want to make sure you're showing up daily. Okay. And then you want to have a daily intention of what to do. Maybe your daily intention is I want to, reach out to 10 people. Maybe your daily intention is I'm going to start a conversation with somebody. Maybe it's I'm going to write on 10 people's posts, whatever that is. But make sure you do have a daily intention. I'm big about goals. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have goals and plans. So set some goals for yourself when it comes. Don't go on randomly oh, I'm going to be on LinkedIn because Lorraine says so. No, that's a bad idea. That's planning to fail. Honest, it really is. You want to be on LinkedIn because you want to strategically use it for your business. And then the other thing is spend the time, block out the time. Okay. Spend the time, block out time and participate. So those are the things I want you to spend 1 minute, just write down, and hopefully you have a piece of paper near you, but I want you to write down one intention that you have and maybe block out for maybe try 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and block out some time where you're going to spend on LinkedIn. I want you to do that now, because if you don't write it down, you're never going to do it. Okay. And, I know who you are. I know every one of you. Just teasing. I don't know every one of you, but the bottom line is you need to do this. Do it for yourself. If not, do it for your business. Okay. So block out the time. You could go right to your calendar right now and, maybe do 8 to 8:30. It doesn't even have to be a half an hour. You could spend 13 minutes a day on LinkedIn. You can spend 10 minutes a day on LinkedIn. You could spend 5 minutes a day on LinkedIn. All right. So that's that. So now we're going to learn how to reach out to our target market. There's not any webinar that you can ever go to or any course that you could ever take on online marketing where they're not going to make you know who your target market is. So when you're in business for yourself, you decided, hey, I'm going to be a website designer and I'm going to sell websites to business owners. Okay. So business owners is a little broad. So basically what you want to do is you want to kind of niche it down. Well, what kind of business owners? Is it going to be construction people? Is it going to be bankers? Is it going to be financial advisors? Is it going to be real estate brokers? Is it going to be photographers? Because you just got to know who your ideal client is. And I'm going to give you some little prompts here that may help you. So think about who your potential clients are. Okay. So basically you want to make sure who they are. Who are these people? Where do they live? Are they women? Are they men? Who are they? Are they business professionals? Do they have a website? I mean, if that's, so think about everybody that you work with and interact with. Think about that client that you could work all day for free. That always, I have a few clients that I really, really, really love. I love all my clients, but there's ones that I would like to duplicate them, so think about who they are. But once you know who you want to reach, say you want to reach, for instance, say I want to reach photographers. This is great because then I can just go into the search bar on LinkedIn and Google photographers. And then maybe I want to narrow it down to people who are local. Okay. And then I would basically find all those people and maybe take 10 a day and write a message. Now, when I say write a message, I don't mean spam. That means 3 paragraphs of garbage that you send them. You're not going to do that. You're going to introduce yourself and say it in a nice way that I think that maybe I believe that we would be really a good collaborative partners. So think about that. Think about who you want to reach, who your target market is. Is it bakers? Who is it? Think about that. There's so many different professions that are on LinkedIn that potentially, yes, you could reach out to anyone and everyone, but you got to narrow it down, and if you work in, like, maybe you present to corporations or whatever, maybe HR professionals are good. There's tons of HR professionals. However, you have to know which HR professional you want to reach out to. Maybe it's HR managers. So you got to think deeper. Okay. So I want you to take a minute there, just name something about your target audience, spend the time, take time to do this later. I mean, there's just, Google target market or ideal client and, or your avatar. And then you can work, there's all kinds of sheets out there that you could actually work on who you want to reach out to. Take a minute, name one profession that as a business owner, you need to reach out to tell about your services and explain their services and explain your services to them eventually, not right away. So that's that. All right. The other thing that's really important, and it's not one of the key learning points, but I think this is important because it relates to your target market. So I always say, and I've written tons of stuff on this, is post relevant content daily that speaks to your target market. Did you hear what I said? Not post anything daily. I said that speaks to your target market. You got to talk their language. It's like you have to know what they want, not what you think they want. And if you don't know what your, target market wants and needs, I highly recommend finding that out. Survey people, I did a whole thing I did a survey about a couple years ago is what are some main challenges on LinkedIn? And one of the number one things is not knowing what to post. So I always make sure I do cover this. You have to make sure that you are posting educational stuff that is going to, again, solve a problem or is going to help your target market in some way, that they want to become your follower. And then they follow you and then they become a raving fan. That's what you want to get people to, becoming a raving fan. So again, content that solves a problem. Here's some things that people actually post. They post, tips and advice, activities and events, pictures and videos, articles, what they do and are, discussions and recommendations. Now, I have at the end, when we're in the Q&A, I'm literally gonna post some links. And one of those links is a link to content creation and some more ideas of what to post, because I could spend all day on what to post, but I gives you more ideas. So I figured I put a little PDF together, and I'm going to put that in the chat. The other thing is that you always want to make sure that you're not selling on every post. So figure out like what you kind of want to do with that. You have to ask for something, you do have to ask. So what I suggest is ask them to follow you or ask them to comment below in the beginning. Don't start out with, buy my pencils or, buy my website design service or buy my wedding photography package, because that's not going to sell. And by the way, on the other platforms, videos are working really great. So always, and on LinkedIn, I would rather watch sometimes a video than just read a whole bunch of paragraphs. So think about that when you are creating content. All right, so take a minute and think about your next post that you're going to post on LinkedIn that will help your potential client or your ideal client and your target market. So you want to maybe you're going to do a video, maybe you're going to do an educational post. Just write it down, and I'll give you 10 more seconds and we'll move on. So LinkedIn is about networking. So just think about LinkedIn as a big networking platform, and you're at this big networking meeting. Think about who you connect with that, who is it that you connect with when you go to a networking meeting in person? So now we're bringing it online where you could connect with everybody if you want, but you want to make sure that those connections that you're like, that's why I spent a little bit on target market. You want to make sure they actually could be a client. So I'll give an example, and this is not to offend anybody at all, but I do social media marketing. So there's only so many social media people that I can connect with on LinkedIn. And quite honestly, a lot of them have connected with me so they could spam my connections. So I limit it only to people in social media that are already they have their business all done and all set, and they're a potential to be a good collaborator. So that makes sense to me, because nobody's if you do social media, right, you're not going to hire me to do social media because you can do it yourself. So all that to say, you want to make sure it makes sense. So you like, if you're a photographer, why would you connect with 3 million bazillion photographers on LinkedIn? Are they going to be a potential client? Possibly not, unless you do one specific thing, like you're a food photographer and somebody's a wedding photographer and somebody's a portrait photographer and somebody's a family photographer. Maybe you could pass work. Oh, I don't do portraits, but I know somebody who does. But limit that, because your main connections are people that either can collaborate with you, or maybe some friends that you've met at a business networking. And that's okay, because they have a potential to refer you. Or the big one is, what would it be like if your whole LinkedIn was full of connections that actually could do business with you eventually? So think about that. Make it make sense. Again, potential clients for collaboration. Other tips, basically, you want to make sure that they do have a full profile. That's my role. They do take a picture, they have completed it, and I do read the recommendations. So key, if you haven't caught that, I mentioned recommendations twice now already. It's easy to get a recommendation. Look through your LinkedIn connections, see who you've done business with, and ask them for a recommendation. They're authentic, because I can't put a fake recommendation on my LinkedIn. It has to be done by the person who did business with you. All right. Not 3 minutes, 1 minute, take the time to figure out who you're going to connect with. Who are some people that you want to connect with? Maybe write 1 or 2 people, 2 professions. Maybe you want to connect with, John Smith of Wedding Photography Plus. Whatever you want to do, just pick one thing. All right, we're going to move on. I want to leave plenty of time for question and answers. So I'm going to just move through this really quick. The next thing, again, it's same. You want to reach out to connections that make sense. So not only are you going to accept from people that make sense, so somebody reaches out to you, you want to reach out. So vice versa. So both. First, you're going to, sometimes you're going to be accepting connections. Again, the same things apply. And then reaching out, the same things apply. When somebody asks you to be a friend and connect with you on LinkedIn, basically you want to make sure that, first of all, it is really good to reach out to people who you know, okay? And connect with people you know. But at this point, I have over 7,000 connections, okay? I don't know every single person of those 7,000 connections. However, during 2020, I did a whole lot of networking. And so they were acquaintances at different online Zoom acquaintances. And some people I have accepted that wanted to connect to me. So I do go through it though, and try to and sometimes I actually get rid of a few that are active. It's very important that when you are reaching out to someone that you see, one way they're active if they have over 500 connections and literally you see them post. Now, I'm not recommending this if you're a beginner or even in the middle of being a beginner in advance, but Sales Navigator is great in a sense. You do have to pay for that, or LinkedIn Premium, you do have to pay for that. It's not necessary. But when you move on to those 2 platforms, basically, especially Sales Navigator, it tells you if they're active. And so you want to read their profile. I don't recommend just reaching out to every single photographer because they may not be a right fit for you. Like, if you want to do, for instance, say you were a photographer and wanted to do a collaboration with another photographer locally at a local library, okay? It would make no sense to reach out to another country like England or India or Africa or wherever, because you're getting everybody when you're typing in the search bar. So you want to hone it down to what makes sense. That's why the biggest thing is you want to make sure everything makes sense. It's part of strategy. Remember, we're not doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's not a good plan. All right. So again, don't connect with anybody. Don't connect with people. Spam them. Okay, here we go. So another link I'm going to leave you is you can write after you connect, do a connection request on LinkedIn, you can write them a short note. And I always recommend that. And so I don't spam them in the beginning. I just connect with them. So basically, for instance, I went to a chamber meeting a couple of weeks ago. So I go to chamber meeting. I collect about 20 business cards, but only 10 of them are my ideal client. Take those 10, immediately I connect with them on LinkedIn. When I get to my car with those business cards, you know what I do? I write on them what we talked about. Okay. And so basically I make it personal. So for instance, hey, Joe Smith, we met at the chamber this week. It was so nice talking to you. Thanks for that tip on blah, blah, blah. And I'd love to connect with you here on LinkedIn to continue our relationship. Very simple. In your own words, don't use their canned thing. I see that you are in my network professional and I'd like to be connected to you. It's kind of lame. All right. Make it a personal note. After they connect, what I do is I give them something. I don't give them something of mine. Usually what I do is I'll give them an article related to their field. Like if they were a real estate agent, for instance, I would give them an article from Forbes or Business Weekly, or maybe the New York Times, depending on, what fits the category. I have about 3 different things. And I will give them, or Inc. There's tons of little publications that you can share something. And sometimes I give like an article I wrote. Hey, did you catch this article? It was totally geared towards photographers, whatever. So always from the place of giving first. If anybody has ever been involved in BNI, everybody knows it's about giving, givers gain. It's kind of the same concept. You want to make sure that you are you're not one of those people that just spam everybody. And you see it, you get them, you know it, you get it in the email, you get it on LinkedIn, and then always give a reason for connecting. That's why I said, hey, we met. The reason I want to connect with you is we met at the chamber, or the reason I want to connect with you is that we went to the same college together, and graduated the same year. I've met so many people, I went to Sacred Heart University. I've met so many people that still live in the area. It's not like today where, the millennials are going off to college or went off to college and they don't come back to Connecticut. But literally, I've been connecting with people that have been great strategic partners and a great referral source. So think about that. Don't spam people. Don't give them 3 paragraphs. You know what? Nobody has time to read your 3 paragraphs. Honestly, think about why TikTok is so popular. TikTok's popular because you can watch these 2-second videos that are educational, funny, and you can go on and on and on. So think about why nobody would want to read 3 paragraphs. Take 1 minute to just craft a little message about what you would do. Like a lot of people say, hey, I looked at your profile and I see that we have a lot of things in common. I would love to connect with you here because I would love to be a source of warm referrals for you. However that may look, write your own little personal connection note. Take 3 minutes, or put a to-do list that this is what I'm going to do. What you're going to do with that note is you're actually going to stick it on your notes on your computer. And then when you want to copy it or change it, that's what you do. I'm always recopying and changing my message. And I always personalize it. You don't want to, not have, say, hey Jane, or hi Jane, or hello Jane, however you want to do it, just make sure you do it. Okay, I'm going to move on. So I want to give you a growth hack, some growth hacks here. All right. So this is one of the ways, I think this is a big growth hack because this is how to succeed in LinkedIn. Okay. So again, if you want to succeed, just don't just approve connections and then do nothing after. All right. A lot of people, it's kind of like, say that I met you somewhere and I said, let's get together for coffee, but then we never get together for coffee. All right. So all I'm saying is, do what you say what you mean. So the same with approving connections. After you approve a connection, write them a little note. Say, thanks for connecting with me. Blah, 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 whatever you want to say, and before you make that connection, here's my challenge to you. You want to make sure that you are reading their profile. Okay. And you'll know, all you have to do is go to activity and you'll see when they last posted or last were on. All right. So, again, take the time to learn the platform, know all the functions and the tools and the service they have. There's this thing, if you go to your dashboard on LinkedIn, after you complete your profile, okay, do not do this now, but after your profile is 100%, you want to hit creator mode and you want to toggle that to on. That will bring in more leads. And then you want to fill in the service page. You want to do everything that you possibly can do. You want to put goals. You want to have a content plan. Like I have a content plan. This month, for instance, I'm doing a giveaway with a few other and collaborating with a few other people on copy. So basically what I've done is that's on my content calendar. So it gets posted. And then the other way, I didn't talk much about this, but groups are out there. And a lot of times people go into groups, they spam everybody in the group. But what I suggest you do is, every once in a while, don't post your services, put up in the groups that you belong to that your target market is in. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are giving them something educational. Okay. So that's my growth hack number one. And then, my growth hack number two is something that I'm going to go offline for and go on to LinkedIn for a second. And then I'm going to end for some question and answers because I do want to show, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to go to my LinkedIn. Where'd it go? All right, here we go. So one of the things on the profiles, a lot of people don't know and they miss a great opportunity. And I can't find it. There we go. Got so much stuff open here. So here's my LinkedIn profile. And again, make it, my profile sticks out, okay? But two things you want to make sure you have, okay, is see this where you could have a website here or anything. It's the only clickable link above here. Besides, when somebody goes to you and they have the contact information. So I want to show everybody where that is. It usually doesn't pop up until you've opened the creator mode up. So you want to turn that on. And you want to also do this providing services. So basically right now it's going to show the other things. You just want to make sure you do the providing services when they actually have looking for a job. And so if you are looking for a job, if that's why you're on LinkedIn today, you open that up to recruiters. I want to be recruited. But for this one is that you want to edit, you want to make sure that you have your service page open. And the reason is, and I'll tell you, I've been getting, it says via InMail, and I've literally been getting leads from just because I turned on my creator mode and I added this little providing services. So once you turn these on, add the services and stuff, if you edit your profile, okay, and go all the way to the bottom, it will say website. So I put my calendar link in there, but you could put like link text, go to my website, and then you could put your website there. Or so maybe you're promoting something. Okay, that's where you put it. Okay. Believe it or not, people do book, and you're probably saying I'm crazy. I get too many. Oh no, I maybe get 1 or 2 a month, but those 1 or 2 a month are people who are really interested in me. So, and it goes to show you that when you do get one, like I would put a bit.ly link for the website, so who, you can track that people are actually clicking it. And the bottom line is those are the people who are really interested in you. So I think this is if you're not doing that, and then an extra bonus, and I'm going to tell you this really quickly. If some of you are do a weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter, all right, LinkedIn has a newsletter. Okay. I highly recommend learning about it. I mean, I already have 838 subscribers to my newsletter on LinkedIn, and I just opened this up a couple months ago. All right. I started out, like when I first started out, when I launched it, I got over 500 right away. But these are people, remember, when you create in the newsletter feature, okay, and you create a newsletter. So remember, you have to have the name of the newsletter. You have to think about what you're going to call it. I'm calling mine Brand Marketing Connect. But basically what you're going to do is every time that you post, like I do a newsletter every week now, and I don't sell anything in it. It's just purely educational. Last week was about being an influencer. Literally what you want to do, what happens is it actually goes into everybody's email too. Anybody who subscribed to you will always get a reminder that will bring them to the newsletter, and they'll be back on your profile again. It's the biggest, to be honest with you, I love it. And by the way, since I'm on here, growth hack number 4 would be, make sure you fill in your featured section. And if you're saying that you don't have it, okay, you just have to go and you have to open it up. Okay. So where on the dashboard where it says add profile section, it's under recommended. Okay. And by the way, a lot of people don't have their recommendations opened. This is where you add the recommendations, and you always have to have one to, in other words, you always have to have invited one to get that feature done. So I think that's it. I'm going to open it up to questions and answers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Lorraine. Lots of great information there, and we do have adequate time for questions. So just a reminder, if you want to submit a question, please use the Q&A button. It's usually on the lower part of your screen, and we'll just take as many as we can until the top of the hour. We'll start first with one from Anna. Can posts be scheduled on LinkedIn, i.e. at night or weekly, so they can publish automatically on their own?
Yes. Okay. So here's the story. Remember, make sure you open up all that stuff, like the creator mode and all that. That has to be on. I'm not really sure who they decided to roll that out. And I'll give an example. I manage a lot of LinkedIn clients. And so now all my clients have that feature. But in the beginning, there was the one client that I really needed that feature for, because I was only doing LinkedIn for them. I wasn't doing other social media platforms. Literally, it was almost the last of my clients to roll out. So that is a kind of a brand new feature. I think it was rolled out sometime last year or in the beginning of this year, but you can now schedule posts. And what it will look like, I'm going to just show it really quickly because I think it would be good for everybody to know where it is. If you go to, everything's blocked here. Let's see if I can find it. If you go to start a post, see, you'll know you have it if you see this. See, there's a little, so say, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then you hit schedule for later. And then you could do all the scheduling here and next. Okay. Of course, I'm not going to schedule that, but it's as easy as that. But it and it may take time. Okay. There's no rhyme or reason who they rolled it out to first. Doesn't matter how much. Everybody goes, oh, it's because you have a lot of followers. I said, no, because my other client only has 200 connections. So it's, they just don't have a rhyme or reason. So this is where you schedule it. It's a little clock. And you can do a bunch of them. You know, I have like an attorney I work for that literally we schedule out posts weeks of ahead. And then it shows up. It actually shows up if you have something scheduled, okay, it will show up in the side column. I don't have anything, I schedule mine through later, so I don't use LinkedIn for myself. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think that's a very helpful tip. Our next one is from Howard. I'm 100% service connected disabled veteran who has been unemployable for years. I'm looking to become employable or build a business. I have a specific skill but want to obtain veteran and disabled certification. How do I write my profile summary without focusing on disability, yet not sounding inexperienced or not having been in the employment or business field for some time? I do have a specific skill, but do not want to be locked into that specific career skill.
Yeah, you know, I would suggest, here's, you know, my husband's a veteran, and by the way, thank you for serving. I would suggest, I think the veteran angle is great, but I don't know if necessarily, I don't know necessarily if you have to in your profile write you're disabled. Okay. If you have a skill, it doesn't really matter. Like if you're disabled, like I had a cousin who lost a leg in Vietnam. Okay. But he was a great artist. Okay. So him losing a leg has nothing to do with him being a great artist. So I would say showcase your skills. That's what you want to do on LinkedIn.
Lorraine, there's Howard just some follow. He was specifically looking at government contracting for the VA, if that has any influence on it. Again, it would seem to me to emphasize your veteran status.
Yeah, I don't know much about government contracted jobs, but like I said, on LinkedIn, I think that when it comes to the profile, you're free to write what you want and then just follow their specifications. And if you're doing it for the government, then that's different than use what it is. Like you know, if you are working for the disabled veterans of Connecticut or whatever, you can do that. I would check though what the criteria is more with who you're getting certified through. And the problem is with some certifications, they never give you the how to. You know, it's like I got plenty of certifications and they really never told you how to run a business. But with LinkedIn, I would just showcase, because depending, maybe, you know, if you're going to get clients through the veterans, you know, there's a lot of different sources out there where you could, you know, write a client attractive profile and collaborate with people like Homes for the Veterans. And there's a whole bunch of groups out there that they all collaborate with one another. And I would highly recommend doing that.
There's one here from William. I think it's pretty straightforward, but can I use LinkedIn to license a patent with a pending status?
That's above my pay grade here. I really don't know a lot about patents, except for Shark Tank. I do watch that all the time. And none of them have ever said they've used LinkedIn. I think that's all through the paperwork. You can say on your LinkedIn profile that you have the patents are pending. And then this way, nobody can steal your idea if you're already giving it out already.
Yeah, Lorraine, I would agree with that. You're going to have to do the actual licensing through the patent office, but you can
use an attorney. By the way, use a patent attorney.
Absolutely right. Okay. This one is a little open-ended from Ellen. Can you say a little bit more about the creator profile?
Yeah, when you go on to the creator profile, what it does is it eventually, once you turn it on, it gives you access to, like, for instance, if you were going to do LinkedIn Live, if you were going to, I guess I could show you. Hold on, let me just share my screen real quick again. It opens it up to a lot of stuff. Some you will never use, and some I kind of use all of it. Oh, where did it go? There you go. So it opens it up to LinkedIn Live. It opens up the newsletter. So remember, I told you about the newsletter. You have to have this opened up. There's a follow link now that you can do. And then there's an audio event, which I don't know if I use that because I use more, I use LinkedIn Live every once in a while, and I use a third party for that. I use StreamYard. So, and I haven't done a LinkedIn Live in a while. So, but, and then just make sure you hashtag, oh, okay, on the profile, you know, some people have the hashtags. These are where the hashtags go. So you put the hashtags here, but they show up in your profile. So I'm actually getting, I literally signed on a client 2 weeks ago because I opened up my creator mode. That's why I'm telling you, make sure your profile is 100% done. All right. You know, because people are going to look at you. So that's all I can say about, that's what it did for me. That's the knowledge that I have on why I opened it up. I wanted to be shown more to more people.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty powerful thing to open up. Here's one from Caitlin. Can I use LinkedIn as a dual purpose? I'm president of a professional organization, and as such, we have a profile for people who seek services, but we also like to recruit new members. So essentially, they've got services and they want to use it for recruiting.
You could. Unfortunately, the only clickable link is what I had showed you. It's in there. You could put some information in the contact. In the summary, you can allude to it. The problem is there's no clickable links in the summary. And so what happens is that they actually have to copy and paste it. You could use it. If you're thinking of you wanted to have a separate page, that's a little different and you really can't. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I have my page, which is what I use, the Lorraine Duncan page, okay? But I also have a business page, which is a BizGone social page. All right. So that's a company page. All right. Now I have a side gig. Okay. And I wanted, so what and my nickname for a lot of my friends, they call me Lori. And so it's a network marketing thing that I do. And I wanted to have a whole new profile, a Lori Duncan profile. Could not have two profiles. LinkedIn will shut you down for that. I was actually warned that I couldn't do that. So the thing is you got to pick and choose. It's all about the branding. Remember, a confused person will never buy. A confused buyer will never buy. So you want to, you got to pick and choose. I honestly, that's what I feel. Maybe somebody has other advice on that, but I feel like when you're branding, when it comes to branding, you got to pick and choose and maybe have a link, maybe have your main profile be all about the business or the services, and then you can use that special link. If you want to become a member, join here and use the link in that clickable link on your profile.
That's great. Here's one from Barb. What do you suggest for social media other than LinkedIn, aka Instagram or TikTok? Are they worth it, and for whom? Just maybe some general advice there.
Well, I like LinkedIn, but I do other platforms. I think that if you're B2B, the best place, if you were going to put all your eggs in one basket, I would put it in the LinkedIn basket. However, if you're business to consumer, you could do both. Facebook is awesome for that. They have moms groups. And, if you have a good group strategy in Facebook and TikTok, a lot of my friends, when I say, where'd you get that gadget? Guess what the first thing they say? They got it on TikTok. So if you're like, if you're selling a gadget or if you're selling some wares, doing some real fun stuff on TikTok is great. Now, Instagram is great too, but I really feel that it's all really about who your influence marketers are and to get one so you can grow. And I mean, they're all so different, but for B2B, LinkedIn is the place. And remember, I didn't even say this yet, but the average income on LinkedIn is about 110,000. I read an article recently, it said 75,000, but 110,000, you've got it all mixes because you've got people leaving their corporate jobs to start their own businesses. you've got a huge amount of income that you can, people have money that are on LinkedIn. So you kind of want to follow where the money is and where your ideal clients are.
Okay. Here's one from Michael who's asking, can you address corporate website on LinkedIn? I'm wondering whether he means a corporate page rather than a website, but you want to talk a little bit about that?
I will say, I think I know what you're asking, but I'm not really sure. But what I think is that, so we all have a personal profile, and from your personal profile, we can create a company page. A company page is extremely hard to grow unless you're Coca-Cola, Nike, Fuji, Procter and Gamble, blah, blah, blah. Because remember, like Coca-Cola is a household brand, okay? Lorraine Duncan, Biz Gone Social, that's not a household brand. In fact, I could ask 30 people who would know who Biz Gone Social is. Probably wouldn't know. Maybe online few people would know who I am. But so I spend most of my time connecting with my people for my business on my personal profile. However, that being said, I get these like little updates from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn said that they were going to start, giving more credit for people who had used their company page. So I highly recommend having a company page. And if you're going to put one up, make sure you post some content every once in a while. So what I do is, so I have regular content that goes on LinkedIn. And then what I do, except for the special things that I'm doing, what I do is I literally put the educational posts 3 a week. I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And sometimes, and I actually post on weekends on LinkedIn. I noticed a big difference in people following me, connecting with me, and also becoming a client of mine when I post it every day. But it's relevant content, except for the weekends. I always just do a quote or something because I don't think a lot of people are on. But since when COVID hit, people were on.
Okay. Next one is from Sabrina. Is it okay to put a one-line pitch in the header first, then subject area expertise in the header? Also, should one put one's title in the header too, like CEO, president?
All right, so you can sneak. Let me just go to my profile and I'll show you a few things. So you could sneak, like I decided I want, like, if I did social media marketing and managing, everybody does that. So this always, by putting LinkedIn Super Ninja, by the way, it literally, everybody's curious. It makes them read more. All right. So I highly recommend, if you're going to put a title, don't put real estate broker. Well, everybody's a real estate broker, so I recommend putting something that sets you apart. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you're going to do a pitch, I say no. I would rather see, I help people do blah 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 XYZ to help them do XYZ. So it's like I wrote, by the way, I change this every once in a while. This is different now than my last one, but I had someone, I help people, do their social media marketing so they don't have to. One time I change this every once in a while, and I update my summary every once in a while. And by the way, I'm going to put those links now into the chat. So when you're doing a message, by the way, you only have a certain amount of characters when you're reaching out to somebody. You got to stay under 300. And for this is a certain amount of characters too. It tells you. So for your headline, so there's a tool, it's done by influencers. It's not mine, I didn't create it, but I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm also giving you a LinkedIn thing that you can sign up for. It's like a little PDF, like something to follow. So I'll put 3 links into the chat right now. The tool is great because it helps me when somebody says you can only have a 100-character bio. So I just stick it in there, and it also does some other things that are pretty fancy. Like the reason I'm telling you about it, because when you go to somebody's about, I just want to show you, you can't see how I put an author in there, like bolded, and some I did some italics. You can't do that with a copy and paste. See how I bolded it? This tool allows you to do it with a copy and paste from that tool because it has coding in it. So I'm going to give you that too. All right, I'm going to get out of this so I can put the links in the chat.
Yeah, and Lorraine, maybe while you're doing that, a couple of people have asked for contact information. Could you maybe put your contact information up again as well?
Yeah, so I believe, let me see.
I think you have a page there.
So here are the links. All right. And you're going to have to cut that. If you do the 3 dot, well, I don't know if it's going to let you, you're just going to have to copy and paste the whole thing for that because you guys have some perimeters on it. I'm going to just do Lorraine at bizgonesocial.com, and you can email me if you have any, questions or whatever. All these little things though will bring you to my website in a sense, so which is bizgonesocial.com. But the best thing to do is connect with me on LinkedIn. This could be your test. Say that I was at the webinar today. All right. And by the way, anybody that does connect with me on LinkedIn, okay, listen to this. Listen carefully. If you connect with me on LinkedIn and write me a personal note, I will give you a free 30-minute LinkedIn audit and tell you what you have to do to correct your profile. So there you go. Connect.
All right. We got time for maybe one more. Here's one from William. If I change my profile, how does the new profile get viewed? Do the previous viewers see it again?
What do you mean change? You mean when you make little changes to it?
Yeah, I think he's editing it or putting up a new one.
Well, if you're putting up a new one, you kind of have to delete the old one eventually. But if you're correcting the one that you previously had, first of all, you got to be careful with that because you don't want to lose your URL. So like, I'm not going to change I have Lorraine Duncan. If you have a common name like John Smith or John Scott, or, I'm just making that up, but common names are really hard to get. Then you have to be John Scott 7 or 8 or whatever. So you got to be very careful with that way. But if you're doing a whole new profile and you're getting rid of the old profile, because none of those, like you had it when you were in high school, or you had to do a project for college in your business class, and you want to just totally get rid of that, then do it. But if it has your name, I would just update it. Now, unfortunately, I don't think you want to turn off your profile from the public view while you're editing. So everybody who's in you're connected to doesn't receive, John just changed his education, John just changed his summary, John just changed his or about me section or whatever, John. So if you turn off the public view while you're editing and then make it public after you finish editing, and I believe it used to be right on the side, they change it all the time, but where you want to go for that, let me just get to share the screen really quickly. Where you want to go for that is you just want to, if you go where your little picture is, and you just want to go to settings and privacy, and you just kind of learn. This is when I say learn to what all these actually say. All right. And in one of these little things, it will have where to turn off the profile. It used to be right on the page. Visibility, edit your public profile. There you go. See that? So when you go there, this used to always be here where it says edit visibility, but it's not. So then you want to just turn it off while you're editing, but don't forget to turn it back on. All right. So basically where I went, let me just show you again. I went to settings and privacy. I went to, where did I go again? I went to visibility. Then I went to edit, which is the second one down. Turn off your profile, do all your edits, and see this URL, see what I'm talking about here? So you have an option to edit your custom URL. All right. So I'm Lorraine. Don't use your business name. You can have a company profile, a company page for your business name. This should be your personal name. And if you already have your personal name, edit the page, change it, turn it off, make all the changes you need to do, get a couple recommendations, change your summary, change everything, and then make it public. That's what I recommend doing.
Okay. Lorraine, we're just about out of time, but we've had a bit of feedback that the first bit.ly link that you posted is not working. And when I look at it, I think it's truncated. There's nothing after your second slash. It just goes bit.ly.
All right. For some reason, so you don't even see the LinkedIn growth success blueprint, because I don't know why it's not linking. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it's going to be impossible to make it link. I'm going to go to, hold on. It's not going to let me do it.
What should the after the slash? I think you're saying it should say LinkedIn growth successful blueprint, right?
Yeah, success blueprint. So for some reason, I copied and pasted it. It works in the URL. It works in the browser. Yeah. But let me get it from the browser. Let's see if I can get it from the browser and see if I can get it to work.
Okay. Just while you're doing that, I'll just wrap up with people because we're out of time. Just a reminder, the webinar has been recorded and will be available in the next day or so on our website under on-demand webinars. And our next live webinar is tomorrow, June 21st at noon. And the topic is planning and managing business growth, your financial plan, with Fred Welk presenting. And again, you can find more specifics on that webinar on our website. And if you'd like to take advantage of the free individual counseling, again, you can use the yellow bit.ly link that we put up earlier, or you can go to our website and just click on request a mentor. And if I could remind everyone to fill out your evaluations that are being sent at the end, they're very helpful to us. And thanks again, everyone, for attending today. And a big thank you to Lorraine for presenting.
Thank you. Everybody,
and maybe we have those yellow bit.ly or those bit.ly links. Hopefully we can get to them. So
yeah, and I put a link, by the way, the opt-in link. So I actually put that link into my browser, and then so it's a clickable, that one's a clickable link. It goes directly to the page now. That's all.
Okay.
So it's a long link. It's a long tail link. So anyways.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks, Lorraine. Lots of great information there. And thanks again to everyone for attending. And we'll see you the next webinar. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.